Welcome to the Five Thread podcast. And today I'm joined by a brilliant guest, Steve Muturi. He is the sports director of Ni Wakati Sports in Africa. I thoroughly enjoyed recording this episode with Steve. I found that my cheeks were hurting because I was smiling so much hearing all of the stories and hearing about his great work. It's a brilliant episode. We talk about a lot of different things, from how he's using old textiles to make dodgeballs that are durable enough to play in his region, through to the secondhand clothing market, which is the largest in Africa, and how this is impacting local economies. It's a brilliant listen and an episode that I really thoroughly enjoyed making. So I hope you enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoyed recording it. Welcome to the Five Thread podcast. I am so excited to have Steve join me today. Me and Steve have kind of known each other through LinkedIn for a little while, and he has been doing some really amazing and exciting things that we're going to dig into today. But first of all, Steve, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much, Joe, for inviting me on this podcast and create awareness on what we do. Okay, my name is Steve Muturi from Nairobi, Kenya, in East Africa, and I'm a passionate guy, really passionate about sports. I have founded an organization called Ni Wakati Sports Africa. Ni Wakati is a Swahili word for it's time, means it's time. So we basically believe that it's time for Africa to arise in terms of sports. So our main vision and mission is to promote sports and to help sports unlock the potential in African kids and youth in the global scene, to create career pathways for sports, especially emerging sports. We promote emerging sports. So ours is an organization that is promoting multi-sports. We're talking of sports like pickleball. We're talking sports of like dodgeball, soccer. Of course, soccer is very big in Africa, in Kenya. We have soccer in our sports programs, and also we recently introduced esports. And we realize esports it's also gaining traction here in Africa, given the youthful population in Africa. You just to give you some statistics on Africa. Africa is home to 1.5 billion people, and 60% are youthful, talking of 25 years and below. So, and again, the introduction of smartphones. Right now in Africa, most of the young people have access to the mobile phones. So, esports is also a huge, it's also a huge, sport coming up, and we are taking this. We have incorporated it into our sports programs. So we are happy to highlight just what we do in our sports programs. Thank you.
I mean, Steve, those are some incredible stats. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. And also, I love the name. What a brilliant
Yeah,
name.
Ni Wakati, yes.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
But how did you get into all of this, Steve? What's your background? What led you into it?
Yeah, thank you. Nice question. Actually, I'd say I'm transitioning. This is my, I mean, this is my second, should I say second career? This is my love. This is my passion. Okay, I have a background in bookkeeping. I studied accounts in college. I have a background in a diploma in business administration, and a degree in that, in business administration basically. And but when I was in primary school back in the day, I got involved into gymnastics, acrobatic gymnastics. So I represented my school, primary schools, into acrobatic gymnastics. So I can do the back flips, the forward flips. I mean that that we grew up doing that. And actually, we did it on a big trucks tire. See these huge tires for trucks. We used to bounce on them and then we do the flips back in the day. So growing up, I wouldn't say okay. I say I come from a sporting background because my mom used to do the runs, the long distance runs, and in college and in high school. So I pretty much picked up from there. And then when I went to high school, I picked up hockey and tennis. And I was able to represent my high school up to the national level playing tennis. But again, it became a challenge after high school. I couldn't continue basically because accessing the tennis courts was a bit costly because you have to be a member and it was kind of pricey. So my dad couldn't afford that. So and back in the day, parents used to tell their kids, the millennials. I'm part of the millennials to focus on only one career pathway, which was education. Yeah, just get a job, work for the government or work for a multinational, then that's your career. But uh, uh, again, I couldn't pursue that. But sports, I was very passionate about it. So in church where I used to go for fellowship, when I cleared school, I started off a table tennis program. Actually, it was the first in that neighborhood, and the young people used to come through. I mean, it was a big initiative, and people used to come and love. And I mean, we used to have soccer and table tennis initiatives. And then after that, of course, I couldn't continue with that. And I went into bookkeeping. I got employed at one of the biggest stores here in Kenya, which was supermarkets. Then I progressed through the career. I transitioned to jobs, and then finally I started doing my own gigs gigs related to bookkeeping. And then after that, it is after I'd say 3 years ago, I lost my mom. My mom passed on. God rest her soul. She had cervical cancer. So I realized my mom had lived her life. She was a career teacher. So, and me, I said I was really passionate about sports. So, and the word Ni Wakati, I had started that initiative as a self-help group some years back. So I picked up from there, and I started these community engagements. I picked up from where I used to live, the table tennis, now pickleball. I got into this space. And I'm here. So it has been a journey, and I love it. I love the whole journey. Yes.
Oh, Steve, I'm so sorry to hear about your mother.
Yeah. Mm, thank you.
Sometimes I find those events really make you focus on
Mm,
what you want to do
correct.
with your life. And it
Correct.
sounds like you've started something that now you can't stop. It's your
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah. Correct.
Um,
Correct. Correct. I mean, even for me, I'm just saying. Uh, some people are asking where have you been? But I tell them I've been around. uh, I have. You see, when you do something you're passionate about, you do it with all your heart, irrespective whether you're being paid or not. So, and there are a lot of hours I've put into research, a lot of hours I've put into. Just uh, trying to get a partnership, local partnership, trying to talk with the local government. The national government to come through. So these are the the drive. I'd say the drive comes from now. When we were growing up, the population was not that huge, but right now I can tell you, Joe, in urban Nairobi, the population has really shot. because right now Nairobi has like 7 million. 7 million. The population is 7 million, and in that 7 million, you could say almost half young people. And during our time, we used to have fields, estates used to have fields located for play. But right now, there are none. Kids have no, I mean, they have nowhere to play. And it's a right for each and every child to access to play, safe space. I mean, to be just to for a kid to be him or herself. So those are the things that really drive me. And among the emerging sports they require some smaller, the low cost entry, smaller space. We just play on the dusty fields. So the emerging sports, I'd say they are big contributors to for kids to play, and they also have a great career talent identification and career pathways. I can say this because right now the Kenyan curriculum system, it changed in the last 2 years. It has been transitioned. So right now we have the first grade nines. These are 15-year-olds transitioning into it's junior high school actually. So the first grade nines, there are three career pathways. There is STEM, science, technology, and mathematics. There's the health sciences, no, social sciences, pardon me. And then there's the sports and creative arts and sports. And now the government has realized that the creative arts and sports are great career pathways whereby these young people can be able to follow through these careers, and they can have amazing careers in sports. We're talking of sports journalists, sports science, coaches, referees. And in the area of digital space, there are so many career pathways. So we are at the forefront of promoting these sports. And I'm glad that through this the small initiatives, because we are a grassroots initiative. I remember we were called upon by one of the local universities, public universities, called Kenyatta University, during the April Sports International Day for Sports and Peace. So we were invited to showcase part of the emerging sports we do. And I'm glad to report this that right now the university wants to engage us for memorandum of understanding and a partnership whereby we can promote these sports, because they realize that some of the sports discipline they've been teaching over the years, some of them, the emerging sports space are not in this. Are not in the curriculum. So we are happy to be part of these talks and these engagements to try and promote these emerging sports. And also, I had a talk with the third years and fourth years, and I was just trying to tell them that, hey guys, this space that you are in right now, it's a huge space uh, internationally and also in Africa, given now the huge population. And right now we are seeing, like the other day, I was engaging the jump rope federation, headed by my friend called Lydia. So she was telling me that right now the government has acknowledged what they are doing, these emerging sports, and they have given them a heads up and a letter of authority to go into all the schools. Yeah. So even us, as we are promoting these sports, it's a big plus, because we are also promoting sports like dodgeball. And we believe also we are going to have, because we're having a partnership with jump rope. We also have a partnership with there's a sport called ball. There's a sport called freestyle trampoline. Having done acrobatics, I got one guy in Canada. He's called Greg Rowe, and he started his sports that the freestyle trampoline. He started it on Instagram. So I've been following him, and he's into. We are looking for a partnership to bring in freestyle trampoline into in Africa. I think we'll be the first in Africa probably next year. And these are big breakthroughs, not only for our organization, but for others. I mean, the kids and the youth. Because again, let me highlight something that part of our organization, we realize we are in a space whereby we are creating solutions to some of the problems in our society. Problems like health challenges right now. This lifestyle has also the sedentary lifestyle has impacted also in urban Nairobi and urban cities, and also the inadequate, limited youth access to sports, and then also uh, uh, they are related to skills development. We realize that in Africa and in Kenya, not most of the youth, most of the youth, they are not NEET, meaning they are not engaged in employment, not engaged in training, and they are not, not in any youth gainful employment. So we realize we are creating, we are fixing that gap, whereby even in some of our programs, we also train this youth into in how in entrepreneurship skills. We are realizing we are training them into digital skills, because some of them have not used a computer before. But it's a whole big, huge thing we are doing, and we thank God for the opportunities, and we are realizing that these are some of the initiatives we are doing. We cannot do them by ourselves. We need, we are joining hands with local partners like Kenyatta University. We are also looking forward for partnerships with organizations in our country that are into, corporates. Yeah. So we believe this is a space that in years to come will be able to, to help so many young people. Thank you. Yeah.
Steve, this is what I love about talking to you. I always feel so inspired. But just a few things, I
Oh,
think um, grassroots is so special because you can really innovate. You can be very dynamic, you can be very flexible. And I think focusing on emerging sports also is incredibly smart because, if I speak from my own experience, with a lot of the traditional sports, if you don't engage with them or you don't know how to play them, it's very easy to think that sport is not for you and you just don't engage. Whereas, some of the sports that you were talking about, like jump rope and dodgeball, to me, those are just almost like play, like having fun. And it just lowers that barrier to entry into movement. And I think that's so important and something that we should really kind of open up to the young people, that it doesn't have to be necessarily like football or cricket or those very known sports. It can be, freestyle trampolining, it can be jump rope. So I think putting a message out there is really important. And one of the things that I want to focus on that we've talked about in the past is dodgeball. And, we talked before about the fact that the lack of kit and equipment can be a barrier to play. It can be expensive or it's not available. But something that I hadn't considered before talking to you was that the equipment that you use in one region might not be right to play in another region. So you talked before about receiving dodgeballs, but actually, when you play them on the hard ground, they start to disintegrate. They weren't durable enough for play outside. And so that you actually developed your own dodgeball, kind of using local people who helped sew that dodgeball. And I wonder whether you could kind of share a bit about that, because it was such a fascinating story, Steve. It really inspired me to think differently about kit and equipment, not just that we pass it on,
but actually we might need to repurpose it for other conditions.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Joe. Actually, on my background, you can see the some of
Yeah.
the balls. Yeah, yeah. So probably I can reach out to one. So last year, um, there's someone from actually UK. He's called Paul Hewitson. He saw some of our programs, so he told me, hey Steve, I have some dodgeballs. Can you be able to can I send them over to you? So I was like, dodgeball. I don't know what sport that is, but I thanks thanks for the internet. So I searched dodgeball and I saw the sport. So I told him, yeah, send the balls over. So he sent us 30 dodgeballs, and by this November, end of November last year, we were at the fields promoting the game. We started off, I mean, from the internet. I mean, we saw the rules. It's played 6 versus 6, and let me tell you, the first day the kids loved it. The kids loved it. And actually, we had so many kids. The second day we were at the fields, we had over 100 kids from 4 year olds to 4 year olds to 17-year-olds, all the way, girls and boys. So we had to tell them, guys, we only have this number of balls, so you guys will have to come another day, such kind of a thing. And the parents really loved it, because we were creating onlookers. I mean, I think I sent you some of the pictures. Onlookers were like, "What sport is this? It's very entertaining." And actually, dodgeball. We used to play such a sport when we were little, especially the young girls. We used to call it kati. Kati is it's a Swahili word meaning in the middle. So how we used to play it? We used to play it, there are players, one player on this side, then there's a span of like 10 feet, another player on the other side, and then in the middle there are players, like 3 players. So as a small ball, not as big as this is a size 2 ball, let's say a smaller ball, uh, maybe bigger than a baseball, maybe a size of a baseball, size baseball 5 ball. So it's thrown, and then the players in the middle, they try and dodge. So Kati, it's in the middle. So the game was called in the middle. So I realized this game we used to play it, but right now it's called dodgeball because of now dodging. Yeah. So I mean, everyone loved it, from the kids to the young people. And I can tell you amazing testimonies. But now we realize these balls were wearing off very quickly, because given the surface, and again, dodgeball, it's played indoors. So you can imagine the indoor surface, it's kind of smooth, and like now this other surface. So we had to keep on washing the balls. Yeah. So we realized they were wearing off very fast, so we had to innovate. Yes, Joe. So in the innovation, one of our coaches was is a textile guy. So what he did, I just told him, this is a dodgeball. Try and repair it. And also I told him, can you come up with such a prototype? So he went and bought a size a size 2 a tube, and then he came up with such a design. Yeah. So the first one was, this is a better version. The first one was a bit, it was this the shape its shape was it was a bit should I say, it was not in a good shape. Yeah, that's the word I can find. Yeah. So we came up with this. So the material itself, it's a jeans part. Yeah. These are old clothes. Yes. So, and we were able to come up with such balls. And well, we tried out in the fields, and we realized they are not wearing off that fast. Yeah. And so currently, the guy is called Ibrahim. So he's the one, because in the past he's also making football balls. So he's the one designing us for, I mean, these dodgeballs. And we are in a pilot stage whereby we want to come next year. We want to do 1,000 balls to go to schools, because we've been receiving very many invitations and to go and do demos in schools. I mean, actually even in the university, Kenyatta University, in youth centers, in rehabilitation homes, in churches. So we are piloting this. I mean, these balls, and given the fact that it's sustainable in the spirit of sustainability and climate action. Again, textile, I mean, the recycled textiles, it's a menace here in Kenya and in Africa. We thank God for the uh, second-hand clothes, because they've come into, I mean, to bridge the gap between new clothes. Right now, you can go to the second-hand market and get I mean, a t-shirt or a jeans for 1 or 2 pounds, which is really amazing. So, and again, you find that after a while, these clothes that are not bought, they are thrown off into the rivers. Yeah. So we've come up with a project. I mean, this dodgeball recycling project, whereby we are turning this this old textile into eco-friendly dodgeballs, and we are also partnering. I mean, we reached out to the Bureau of Standards to try and standardize these balls into, I mean, balls that can be able to be certified. And also because we see that given given now the we are promoting the game, and we're receiving mass requests for the balls, and we're seeing it whereby even in Africa, because I'm in talks with the World Dodgeball Association president, Mr. Tom Hickson, and we are actually also planning to do a major African Continental Tournament, God willing, next year, on the next year, but one in Kenya. So it will be good even to see us using a dodgeball designed and made in Kenya through using locally, I mean, eco-friendly old textiles. Yes, so I mean, we see it as a great business, sustainable, I mean, business model, whereby even young people from these projects, from our projects and in other projects in the neighborhood of urban Nairobi, can be able to also earn a livelihood through it. Because in terms of making the balls, you imagine whereby we are making 1,000 balls in a month, say for instance. So we are talking of job creation. We are talking of in terms of marketing, in terms of I mean, food chain, going through this, and promotion of sports. We're talking of, I mean, a lot of opportunities in this area. And again, I just want to highlight one thing, that dodgeball here in Kenya, in the one of the main projects that we do have in Mukuru. Mukuru is it's one of the slums here in Kenya, and actually in Nairobi. I'd say I've told you that Nairobi has like 7 million the population, and it's according to statistics, almost 60% of Nairobians, they live in slums. And in these slums, Nairobi is divided into 17 sub-counties. Yeah, and these 17 sub-counties have 5 wards. So we are talking of 85 wards in Nairobi. And I'm currently able to reach. I've only reached ward, two wards, and in these 2 wards, we had a talent identification program in our vision to be able to reach in these 17 sub counties. We had targeted to reach at least 100 kids. So we're talking of 1,700 kids in Nairobi. But I can report to you, like right now in Mukuru, I have over 450 kids in our program in one ward, which we wanted to target 100 kids, and they are coming. In another ward where we have in somewhere in, it's also a slum area, we have over 250 kids. So this is a good challenge. For me, I see it's a good challenge because in that other area, I haven't even managed to take the dodgeballs. I've only done the demo. So every time they are calling, where are the balls? Where are the balls? Where are the balls? It's a good challenge, yeah. And let me highlight this: that there's one particular coach I was invited for a youth for a youth engagement, and this youth, I realized they were ex convicts. Yes, that was in last year around December. So in the facilitation, I was invited by the Catholic Church in Mukuru. So in that facilitation, I engaged them in dodgeball and pickleball, and they really loved it. And I made a follow up to with one of the participants. It's called Charles Nonzia, and for him, he was a former soccer player, a very good soccer player in Kenya. Actually, was enrolled in one of the uh, premier clubs here in Kenya, under 20 junior. But due to growing up in the slums, uh, I mean survival becomes the norm of the day. It's they are. He told me they are 10 in their family, and he's the like fifth born. So he had to go out. He found out he was, I mean, by and large, he got into crime. He was arrested. He was sentenced to 1.5 years, and then he came back from the community. So the Catholic uh, Church had a social engagement, social impact engagement, and they invited me. So I can report right now. Charles is very much involved in our programs, and he really being on the forefront in promoting dodgeball and pickleball and soccer in our programs. So you can imagine the reintegration part of sports. I mean, his story makes me to, I mean, each and every day when I wake up, I say this day things are not working. But I remember he gives me a call. Actually, we were on call just 2 hours ago, and he was telling me, Steve, I have some good news. I mean, there's a school also in our neighborhood. They want us to go, and so I'm like, but Lefty, I mean, we call him Lefty because he's left-footed. Yeah? So I told him, Lefty, man, you remember we don't have balls. We need to. I'm doing something. So, and he was telling me, parents are calling. Everyone wants to join the program. So, I mean, these stories are the ones that make us. I mean, to do what we are doing, and to see how we can be able to scale and bring in other kids, because again, I can tell you, there's an area in Kenya, in Eldoret. Last week, I was invited to a talk show in one of the TV stations, Science TV, and I really thank the media, and also like Joanna, what you're doing, because you are highlighting, you are amplifying. I mean, what grassroots sports are doing, because even in Kenya, you wouldn't find emerging sports being given airtime or space to talk on what we do. It's only soccer. It's only football. It's only swimming. It's only golf. But when they give us this opportunity, so on Monday, someone called me from Eldoret, and he told me, I saw you're promoting dodgeball and pickleball. So how can we partner? How can we come in and come? I mean, because in Eldoret there are also slums. I mean, you get. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. I'd say there's a lot of things in terms of going out there and trying to see how we can be able to scale up, and how can we able to be positive, because these youths want to be positive contributors to the society. They don't want to be associated again with, negativity in the society. So I really thank God for this opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, Steve, I mean, every time I speak to you, you make my cheeks hurt because I just end up smiling at all of these stories that you tell because I just find they're so vital. Before I spoke to you last week, before we caught up, I was feeling quite down about sustainability, like lots of negativity in the world. And then I spoke to you and I thought, it's people like you who make a massive difference because you influence so many people, from all of those kids who can now see a different pathway, even just a sport that gives them joy, to, like you say, ex-convicts who now have a different path. And I think it's very easy to underestimate that sometimes, especially when you look at professional sports and you think, okay, there's so much money and growth in that. Actually, it's the things on the ground to me that are so powerful, and are making such significant change. So, yeah, it's always such a joy to speak to you, Steve, because it's not only reducing those barriers to play, it's all the other things you talked about, like giving people the entrepreneurial skills. I loved how you said, "Oh, I just asked him to make a prototype." Like you just kind of gave somebody that opportunity and run with it, and I think it's just absolutely brilliant, Steve. Um, One of the things I do want to touch on, because you mentioned it before and you shared some statistics with me, was about the amount of secondhand clothing. I'd previously talked a lot about Ghana and Kathmandu market, and then I found that Kenya was the biggest importer of secondhand clothing, almost $300 million in 2023. Imports increased 500% between, I think it was 2005 and 2021. And in 2021, 900 million items of used clothing entered the Kenyan market. And we'd spoken before because you'd said you would go into these markets to find things like football boots. And of course, there's lots of great things about the second-hand market in your region. But you're also finding that actually it is flooded with low cost, low quality garments that are harming your environment. So I know you visited the market quite recently. Just wondered your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you again. It's a great question, and it's a great highlight. Yeah, second-hand clothes. It's I'd say it's a double-edged sword in terms of, yeah, on one area it's a big creator of opportunities and employment, because again in Kenya most of the livelihoods are into small business, micro, small, and enterprises, and most of these micro small enterprises, they rely on second-hand clothes, for their livelihood. They buy them from, we're talking of big importers, importing from UK is one of the biggest, suppliers of second-hand clothes, from way back, talking from USA, Germany. And right now we are seeing even second-hand clothes coming from China, from Asia. Yeah, which I'd say 10 or 15 years ago it never used to happen, because they realize there's a huge market out there. And again, I would say it's a double-edged sword, because in terms of the local textile industry, because we used to grow cotton here in Kenya way back during the colonial times. But right now, cotton industry has, the ginneries have shut down. So the government, through the years, it has really tried to, to bring back, but they realize, the second-hand clothes, it was really saturated. I remember some years back they tried to bring a legislation on trying to ban them, but the businessmen, I mean, the whole ecosystem were against it because, yes, they say they ban them. Then what? What will people wear? The population right now in Kenya is talking of 57 million Kenyans. I remember when we were growing up, our school uniforms, we used to go with shorts, and you wear that short for like 5 years, and when it gets worn out, you take it to the tailor and it gets some stitches. I don't know. Yeah, back then we used to do that. And then when you transition into high school, you leave it to your small brother to continue with it. So second-hand clothes, again, it has given Africans an opportunity to be able to, I mean, to have decent clothes. Yes, and again, Kenyans being very fashionable. They want to wear labels. They want to wear Nike. They want to wear Adidas. They want to wear, I mean, Fila, Fubu, and all this. So we found that, I mean, everyone uh, was and is rushing to the second-hand markets. So in terms of employment, it has really created a lot of employments because only one needs in with 1,000. That's around like £5. You can be in business. You can go to the second-hand hand market, and with £5, £5 to £10, you are able to get some of these second-hand clothes, maybe third grade, and then you buy them, and then you go to another town and you're in business. Actually, I have my cousins who are relying on it on second-hand clothes for livelihood, and they are selling them 500 kilometers from Nairobi. And they are able to sustain their families. I mean, their children have gone through school, primary school, secondary school, even university level, with with that business, you know. So again, uh, on one side it's a good thing. On the other side, we're talking of harmful impacts on the environment. I mean, these second-hand clothes, the ones that are not bought, they are thrown away in these markets. They're thrown away into rivers. Yeah, I mean, they end up clogging up the drainage system. Telling you, in Nairobi, when it rains, becomes again a nightmare because all these sewage they are blocked. The drainages are blocked because of, I mean, the debris, the plastics, the second-hand clothes. You know, so it's a menace. And also, right now, from Asia, we find that this counterfeit, I mean, apparel that are coming through, which, yes, they have labels. They're saying it's Nike, especially football jerseys from Manchester United. Football Premier League, it's followed religiously here in Kenya. I can tell you, here in Kenya and in Africa, I think Kenya is one of those countries that really follow Manchester. I mean, Arsenal, the big teams, Tottenham's, you know. So you find that because most of these fans, they cannot afford the second-hand jerseys, the original jerseys. So these businessmen, they import counterfeit jerseys, yeah, and they go for maybe less than two to £5, yeah, and they're affordable. So when one dons an Arsenal, or, I mean, Liverpool jersey, provided he has the label, and he can be able to, I mean, to print his name at the back, maybe Steve Muturi, yeah, you're good to go. So I mean, there's one aspect of it. And if I only, I mean, these also teams, I saw that you are at the forefront advocating for, I saw in your one of your post, saying the sustainability of polyester versus a cotton in terms of the degeneration. Yeah, it takes a lot of time for this. I mean, these materials, I mean, to degenerate into the environment. It's just like plastics. Again, even the type of, I mean, the type of materials that are being used. So second-hand clothes to the economy, yes, you can say it's a big plus. But again, we cannot even keep on relying on second-hand clothes as the years goes, as the population rises. Because again, as I've mentioned, the population is rising. I think even the government should come in and support the farmers, because again, in Kenya, part of most of the lands, it's semi-arid lands. So if they can create a way whereby even these semi-arid lands, we can be able to irrigate these lands and plant cotton in a way that in the next, let's say, 10, 20, 30 years, we can be able to subsidize or reduce the imports that are coming through in terms of second-hand clothes and second-hand textiles. And you see that statistics doesn't mention also second-hand equipments in terms of fridges, in terms of microwaves, in terms of tables, I mean, chairs, furniture. I mean, second-hand, it's big business in urban areas. Yeah, everyone wants to run to this machine you're seeing behind me. This is a second-hand copier from Europe. Yeah, the second-hand,
I know.
second-hand.
I thought it was very fancy,
I
Steve.
mean,
I was like, it's better than what I've got. It's amazing.
yeah, I'm sorry to disclose this, but I have to. So I mean, second-hand, in one way, it's the computers. You have second-hand computers, second-hand laptops. They've created employment, at least in terms of digital space. They've helped accelerate. But right now, we're also saying we need to also to assemble our own. I'm happy there's one university, Jomo Kenyatta University in Kenya, and Dedet Kimathi. They are able to, assemble parts and be able to create, to develop or to manufacture our own computers, because we have the skills. So I mean, this is one area. There are pros and cons for it. There are arguments for it, but it's one sector that it's cutting through as I said, as a double-edged sword. Yeah. Thank you.
Really?
Definitely. I think you've summarized that really well, Steve. You know, it's not quite as easy as just banning it. You know, there's so many different facets to it. And it's how do you create potentially new economies through it, through what you're doing, for example, with the dodgeball, where you're taking like secondary denim and turning it into something new. We've got to have a different way of thinking about it. But Steve, I can't believe how fast the time has flown. I could talk to you all day because you're doing so many brilliant things. But I just also wanted to give you the last kind of few minutes if there's anything that we didn't cover or anything that you want to share before we wrap up.
Yeah. Even me, I didn't believe that time has really, gone. I mean, you see, when you talk about something that you're passionate about, I mean, time becomes less. Yeah. So for one, the last thing maybe I could highlight is it's a call to action that the grassroots sports organization, that the work that we are doing, we need collaboration and partnership. One of the key key foundational pillars to our sports programs, we believe in we say 5 P's. One of the P's is people. This planet, we need people. Yeah. So we believe in people, and these people have a purpose and a potential to be exercised in this planet, that be through partnerships. So we believe in partnerships for peace and partnerships for prosperity. And these partnerships, they don't have to be, they can be in the way you highlighting our story. That's a partnership. And I really love the way you came through and agreed to, to me, just relaying what we do, because I realized you can be doing, there's so many grassroots. I'm not the only one doing a social impact project initiative in the community. There are others doing things related to uh, to agriculture, others doing related to environment, which we are doing also, others doing related to domestic violence. I mean, so we need to come up with partnerships, and these partnerships they can be in terms of just mentioning to other friends, to other partners, and they can be able to plug in terms of provision of equipments. I mean, provision helping to help us get to other urban areas. In Mombasa, there's the coastal town of Mombasa, the second town in Kenya. Uh, I've talked of the 85 wards. Right now, we are able just to cover like 5 wards. So there are 80 wards. So we also reach out to the county government of Nairobi, and they've helped us in terms of they have given us access to one of the sports facilities in one of the one of the sub counties, and we are able to train the kids there, train the youth there at no fee. They've told us, hey, because you're doing a good job, you can train there for free. You don't have to pay like probably the others pay. So these partnerships we're saying even the other counties, because Kenya is has 47 counties. So we've also reached out to some of the counties, and we are hoping they are going to open up for us. When we go there with our coaches, we just tell the counties, please facilitate in terms of travel and maybe accommodation, and we can be able to replicate. We train other youths in that county, and then we can create a sustainable sports model that can be able to thrive also in that county, and then we go to another one. Yeah, so we are inviting these partnerships, both local, the universities I've mentioned of partnerships now in UK. We have Five Thread, amazing work you're doing in sustainability and and sports. We reach out to corporates. There are 47 banks here in Kenya, and they do report billions each and every year, billions of shillings. But again, in terms of CSR, this is CSR project, they don't trickle down to the grassroots. Yeah. So we also saying they create a mandatory CSR. I've seen mandatory CSR in Europe. Yeah. Because here CSR, it's voluntary. So when it's voluntary, they'll just choose an initiative like golf. Yeah. But this golf doesn't affect these kids. I mean, because as I mentioned, 60% of the population are the urban poor. Yeah. So when you say golf, how many of them can they don't? Some of these kids even the other day I took the tennis courts. I mean the tennis rackets. They've never seen. They only seen the tennis racket on the television. So these initiatives are the ones we are looking for, and I can mention here that we are very fortunate to get into a partnership with this Amalink. There's a organization called Amalink in USA. They provide sports scholarships to America, and they've reached out and they said they can be able to sponsor at least one kid, which is awesome. I mean, in our programs come next year. Yeah, which that's amazing. And there's also another company called Racemate. That's a running app. For them, they are into promoting sports tech, which sports tech it's we are really looking up. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities in sports tech, and also esports. Esports is big, so we also reach out to British esports and the College of Esports. Yeah, they are willing to partner with us through now a university, which is Kenyatta University, to help set up a place. I mean, through the university, whereby, and the university is saying if this goes through, our center will be like the pilot, because we have a small center a small center whereby our center through this youth can come in and engage in esports. Yeah, imagine the digital skills and what have you. And also we're inviting partners to help us set up a small sports hub, uh, a multi-sports hub, maybe whereby you can be able to set up a small pickleball court, an indoor dodgeball, just a small one, can be played indoor dodgeball and esports, and also table tennis and the freestyle trampoline. So these partnerships are they are very vital. I'll actually say they are the lifeblood, because again, when you highlight like what we are doing, also we get credibility even in our own country, because grassroots are, they are like marginalized. So when they see Ni Wakati Sports has been invited by Five Thread, Joanna, and we are being interviewed, so they realize, so we have something that the world that the world can. I mean, we are doing something for the community. So well, we welcome these initiatives, and we know they will help. I mean, create the whole ecosystem. And one last thing I didn't mention is the sports tourism. We are big into this. We are looking at also expanding and exploring sports tourism. The other day, we did a proposal to the Kenya Tourism Board and said that emerging sports are also one of the areas that can help accelerate the sports tourism. You imagine us having to hold the dodgeball championship here in Kenya, and also at the coast, the beach dodgeball. That's a huge thing that it can interact. They can invite local and international tourism just to come in, not only to view the safari but also to engage in sports, cultural exchange. I mean, volunteering. We're also inviting sports volunteering into Africa, and get to see how grassroots sports are being used. We are using grassroots sports to drive the social change in our communities. Yeah, thank you so much.
I think that's an amazing idea, Steve. I mean, I'm going to be the first one there to look at the, what was it, extreme freestyle trampolining and the jump rope. I can't wait. I think it's just so fascinating and just so exciting for these new sports to be able to discover something that you'd never seen before. And I have to say, the honor is all mine, Steve. You know, like I say, every time I speak to you, I feel so inspired, and I think there's so much that we can learn from what you're doing and the way that you are very entrepreneurial, you know, and supporting others and really feeding that out. So just thank you so much. And I think that is a fantastic call to action. Steve, I know you're very kind of active on LinkedIn in terms of if people message you directly. Is that the best way that people can get in touch if they want to reach out to you?
Yeah. I mean, guys can reach out to me on my LinkedIn, Steve Muturi, and we have Ni Wakati Sports. We also opened a IG, Instagram, which is Ni Wakati Sports. We are trying to get active into it, and also our email address. We are also developing a website, because we realize also people want to come in and support in one area or another. So these are the areas we are inviting partners to get in touch with us and see how we can help accelerate these sports initiatives to create jobs. I mean, to create career pathways, sports career pathways. I mean, to life skills. Talking of instilling confidence, instilling, communication skills, teamwork. I mean, sports is amazing. Yeah. So really thank you for this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will put all of those details in the show notes. And I guess I just want to reiterate that, you know, I didn't grow up from a sports background. I found sports much later in life. And I really now see the potential of sports in terms of the opportunities that it can give people, the team building, the confidence, the resilience that it's very hard to get if you don't play sports for a young age. And, you know, I just really firmly believe that access either through not being able to find somewhere to play or because of kit and equipment, and the cost of that shouldn't be a barrier to play. And I think, Steve, you're fundamental of breaking down those barriers. So it just remains for me to say until next time, because I'm sure we will have a future discussion on the podcast. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yes.
You've been an absolutely brilliant
Most
guest.
welcome.
I've absolutely loved this. So yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Joanna, for your time. I really loved it also. Thank you. Bye-bye.